Okay, so let us simply begin by instructing some simple guidelines to follow for the next 6 or 7 minutes. If you have awareness of social networking and agree that it delivers drawbacks of multiple aspects of your life, focus on the cons that will be presented in my speech. If you are a person who thinks social networking is a positive, uplifting aspect of your life, focus on the cons in my speech. For those of you who do not use social media or aren't active in social networking, give yourselves a pat on the back, because at an all-time high, the demand, fascination, and utter obsession of social media offers many drawbacks in our generation. The cons of social networking outweigh the pros in such a way that it should encourage children, teenagers, and even adults to cut back the time that they spend online. How many of you guys actually use social media? I know I'm guilty of it. According to Pew Research Internet Project, as of January 2014, 74% of online adults use social networking sites, and that's a pretty high percentage. We all know there are multiple reasons behind using social media, whether it be for your education, career, communication, or socialization. There are many cons that come as well that some people may be unaware of. Make a mental note of the cons that I present to you and the relation that you may have towards it. The first one is cyberbullying, misinformation, lower academic grades, lack of productivity, less face-to-face communication, misrepresentation of people or of yourself, procrastination, stress, anxiety, spending less time outdoors, which leads you to be less active, which also leads to weight management issues, and the list goes on. Now, review your mental list and reflect back to the pros that were simply presented at the beginning of the speech. Is it really worth it? The reason why social media is so powerful today is because it's so accessible. You can just pull out your phone when you're bored, and there you have all of these social media sites, and you get an insight on everyone's life. Not to mention it's free. There are 3 steps you can take to have a positive effect with using social networking. The first one is just imagine your life without it. Simply think, how would I spend my time? The second one is put time towards doing things more active rather than being on your phone. The third one is to actually take initiative, put down your phone, put time away to spend time with your family, and make it a long-lasting result. In today's society, it's rare to come across someone who doesn't have a social network. If we didn't, the world would be full of social butterflies. Cyberbullying would have an immense decrease, obviously, because it's almost impossible to bully someone over the internet when there aren't any social networks. The utopia we would create wouldn't have drastic statistics like 700 billion minutes being spent on Facebook by Americans each month, or 250 million people accessing Facebook by phone per day. And that's me with Twitter. I'm completely guilty of it. Those facts were provided by Statistic Brain. These numbers decreasing could benefit every single one of our lives for the better. Whether you use social media or not, numbers like this decreasing would make for a happier and a healthier world. Ultimately, I want everyone who uses social media to just cut down the hours. I know it sounds crazy, but the changes you'll see in your life will make you happier than any of the retweets, any of the favorites or likes that you receive or look forward to online. It'll also make you realize that the outside world isn't so bad after all. I know without a doubt that I procrastinate, and I know that half of it is because I'm on my phone. So I'm not the only person who admits that, because in Pakistan, a group of teachers did a study on their students and how social networks were affecting them. They stated that the main focus of students should be education, but unfortunately today's students are emphasizing on social networking sites, which could be a complete waste of time. Social networks were once an electronic connection between users, but unfortunately they've become an addiction for students, teenagers, and even adults. I agree that it's definitely something that's being abused. I don't agree it should be demolished completely, because social networking can be beneficial if you want to stay in contact with your family, friends, or keep up with the news around the world. However, it can be extremely addicting in ways far beyond communication. All I'm asking for you is to simply limit yourselves on social media sites and recognize the positive effects it can have in your life. The near anonymity of online interactions makes things impossible in the real world, but possible in the virtual one, says Azeen Saidu in Millennial Media. One of the many things you'll notice if you take my proposal is you'll find yourself more confident in your own skin. You won't be affected by the nagging friend commenting negative things on your picture on Facebook. You'll notice an uplifting and a less amount of stress that's been lifted off your shoulders because the time you spend on social media will now be spent engaging in other activities. Brooke Wells, an assistant professor of communication studies at the College of Business at the University of Chicago, states the desire to indulge in social networking such as Facebook and Twitter is an addictive product such as smoking a cigarette. In the past, most of our social interactions were private and undocumented. That is increasingly not the case. CNN also did a study over how social networking can affect your career in high school senior. A high school senior actually admitted that he deleted his Facebook because he didn't want it to affect his future career. So, going hand in hand, both of those statistics just go to show you how it doesn't only affect your life today and your mental picture on life today, it also affects your career and can have effect on your future career. Long hours behind a phone screen can damage your brain mentally, physically, and emotionally. With reoccurring socialization, communication, and depression problems, social media and cyberbullying can be much, much better if we think about it in a positive way. Not cyberbullying, but social media can. Coming to terms with a life in a networked area is very difficult. Using social media as a luxury rather than an addictive hobby can be so beneficial and create a happier and healthier lifestyle. So get off the internet and live.